everyone. Thank you for tuning in for the Dealmaker Series. My name is James Sackey. I'm interviewing some of the top deal makers here in DFW. I am joined today by Amanda Foyt. She is the Vice President of Middle Market Banking at Comerica. Hey, Amanda, thank you for joining. How are you doing today?
Good. Thank you so much for having me today.
Awesome. Yes, thank you for being here. You want to give us a quick introduction of the bank and what you do?
Sure thing. So, Amanda Foyt, been with Comerica Bank for 2 years now and have a background in investment banking, commercial lending, and private equity. I've been loving my role at the bank here at Comerica. Comerica is one of the largest Texas-based and Texas headquartered banks in the country. The bank has been around for 175 years, one of the earlier traded on the New York Stock Exchange, actually. And for a long time, the bank was based in Michigan, but the bank moved their headquarters to Dallas, Texas 20 years ago. So we've become quite the hometown name in this community, and we do a lot where we're known as a commercial bank, we do a lot in business banking. The Dallas team here focuses probably the most on M&A activity and middle market private equity. That's about half of my book. And I'm generally focused on companies, middle market companies that are doing anywhere from 35 million of revenue to probably up to 250, $300 million in revenue. And, there's flexibility on that. I think we're very much a relationship oriented bank. So when you're talking about lenders and markets that prosecute opportunities, it goes with the people that have relationships. And I'm really fortunate in this market to have made some amazing friendships and professional relationships across my career, primarily through a couple of key organizations, the Association for Corporate Growth and the Alliance of Merger and Acquisition Advisors, which I'm actually on the board and chair of the DFW chapter for. So incredibly fortunate. I've seen a lot of amazing deal flow and opportunities come from this market, from those groups and across other networking organizations and industry-focused groups here in town that, James, you and I, we run into each other frequently at. So
Yeah.
good to be here.
Yes, for sure. And I didn't know quite all that history about the bank, so I appreciate that. That's good. So let's jump right into it. So first question, how would you describe the current state of transactions, M&A, and deal making here in DFW?
Lots of activity. I mean, I don't think there's any shortage, but in my portfolio and the private equity sponsors that I work with specifically, I've seen a lot, and not only within my book, but I've actually been chairing the ACG M&A Awards for 4 years now. I've seen this consistent across a lot of the deal flow that I even see through that, and just hearing through the community that it's been very heavy in add-on acquisitions. There's been delayed portfolio exits from middle market private equity firms, and there's an abundance of capital. I mean, capital was still being raised over the last few years while maybe deal flow has struggled. So there's, a growing base of overall dry powder that's targeting the Texas market. And, that's sitting there on the sidelines. It's committed. Private equity firms have to put that to work. So as a result of having more dry powder sitting on the sidelines here for us, we do expect to see larger transactions and higher volume of new portfolio platform investments being made in 2025. But always opportunity.
Yes, for sure. And I've been getting a lot of that as well, as far as like there's a lot of dry powder out there. There's a lot of folks, they're capitalized and they haven't quite started deploying yet. But I think that kind of leads into my next question is around interest rates and tariffs. I'm kind of curious what you're seeing from your side, especially as a banker. How is that impacting things? What's the climate like where you're seeing things from?
There was certainly some tightness that was experienced across cash flow and leverage lending credits in the portfolio over the last years as interest rates have declined. It does create certain market opportunities for us, though, whereas over the last few years, when someone was able to lock in a really low interest rate, there wasn't as much of a need to maybe go out and seek refinancing. So we've seen an uptick of middle market companies that might not even be private equity backed that are willing to consider new banking relationships right now. And fortunately, our middle market division of the bank consists of, a lot of regional leaders that are largely shielded from too much cost disruption. My portfolio, I've been really lucky. I've got fantastic clients that are positioned as market leaders within their sector or subsector that they operate in. These companies, they command those spaces. So most of my clients are able to pass through costs and cost increases to their customers. I think that's really key to evaluating middle market A opportunity in particular, evaluating a company's position, competitive advantages, and ability to command pricing across the products and services that they sell is extremely important in determining how a business might fare during inflationary periods like this. On tariffs, Comerica is a regional bank largely focused on domestic borrowers, but I do have customers that operate and have subsidiaries abroad or have a lot of international trade components. And I haven't seen impacts yet. I mean, we're just at the start of this new administrative cycle. There's a lot of things changing day by day. And it's interesting. I'm actually going to be participating on a CFO panel in March alongside Comerica's foreign exchange team to discuss what expectations we might have for the year ahead and what impacts we might expect across these tariff and international trade policy decisions that are being made right now. So I'm actually going to be polling a few of my clients that do lean in heavier to international trade and asking them what strategies are they deploying now to maybe offset any risks that are posed to them. It's a different scenario each time with, where they get a majority of their supply from. Obviously, there are negotiations in Washington with various countries and various countries posing different negotiations towards us and how we work together. So, short answer, haven't seen much impact on the tariff side yet, but expect to for the year for sure.
Yeah, I'm thinking so, and I'm getting that consensus from a lot of folks I've been talking with as well. At the time of this, actually today, it looks like Trump has signed more executive orders around tariffs this afternoon. So we'll definitely see how that unfolds as we get closer to the middle of the year. And that kind of swings me in the next question. And I think you kind of touched on this a little bit. What trends are you seeing in strategy or deal structure now?
I mean, as far as structuring deals and what composition, the sources and uses of a transaction contemplate, there's still a lot of heavy seller notes, rollover positions, earnouts that are in these structures that are pretty significant. Measuring how sustainable cash flow growth is to a business is critical in determining how the purchase price considerations and obligations will actually fare. So that's a big part of underwriting for us. If there's a big earnout position, obviously you have to hit milestones that justify whatever distribution needs to be made for that agreement with a seller. But with seller notes and forward obligations like that, you need to be really almost thinking in a sensitized fashion and incorporating those as being obligations that will need to be paid. Understanding that cash flow sustainability is so important. I don't think that's ever changed. I guess one thing with structure that might be making a little bit of a comeback, I'm discussing a deal right now that may have a nice escrow component to offset future obligations for the buyer, which is interesting. I haven't seen that in a long time. And it kind of leads me to believe that supply demand for deal flow has tilted a little bit more in favor on the buy side participants. So for what it's worth.
Interesting. Yes. So, okay, let me shift gears here a little bit. What makes the DFW market or Texas unique versus all the other ones?
Oh, that's a good question. We are so unique. We're our own animal. And I'm originally from Texas. I'm originally from Houston, but live in Dallas, and I see the differences in those markets. But obvious, favorable state policy structures, of course. That alone, plus some of the aftermath and different changes in our economic conditions from COVID, have attracted so many to move operations to capital to the state of Texas. Which has expanded kind of our asset class focus, right, from what Texas has historically been known for, oil and gas, real estate. But now we're seeing so much more in technology, entertainment, innovative concepts. Some, of our most important players in the economy, Elon Musk, bringing operations to Austin and all that comes with that. I think infrastructure and data centers, fiber optic developers, and people that are playing into that space, that's been a big growth area. So, I mean, Texas I see it as a leader and a contributor to making the rest of the country go round. If you're talking about developing infrastructure that powers our data capacity, that powers, the call that we're on right now, and the companies that are doing this work and developing these sites and delivering the data capacity, being from Texas, I think we're a really large contributor of that. And I think Dallas in particular also controls, a lot of middle market private equity and corporate service activity throughout the state of Texas, and compared to other markets. Like, in my experience, it's very often and common for me to see players that are entering into the Texas market or trying to, or that are established here. They aim to kind of create their hub of resources and their professional services teams here in Dallas. Like, they'd rather have everyone in one spot. This is hiring, all of the professional advisors that you need to get a deal done. We've just got really, really great resources in this market, and middle market private equity. I mean, there's a lot of heavy hitters here.
There really are. I think we've got north of 10% of Fortune 500 companies here, and I think that number is growing. I think we are the fastest growing county, or not county, but the fastest growing region, I think Metroplex in the country. I think we're number 4 still, and it seems like everybody's moving here for sure, and all the residents as well as the companies. So I think, we're very, very tough place to beat, even city to city. I think, like you mentioned, Houston, I know, is another huge city for Texas. I think Dallas is if we're not surpassing them in business activity, I think we're really close. I feel like we might have already, but who knows?
Well, and they have saturation. I mean, healthcare and oil and gas is still like so concentrated for the Houston market. I think you see more innovative things coming out of the Dallas market. So it's exciting to be part of. And, I think capital is out there and it's being put to work from here. I know as far as Comerica Bank goes, we're definitely turning the spigot on and have our growth goals, and a lot of other banks are in the same boat, and we partner together. So definitely play well in the sandbox with others here, and we're out there looking to grow.
Yeah, for sure. I love it. Any other final insights? We got maybe like a minute or so. Any insights for the year or what you're doing or anything like that?
Just again, open and willing to talk with about anyone that plays here and anyone that's looking to grow in this market. Happy to be a resource however I can.
Absolutely. Thank you, Amanda. I appreciate your time. I love the insights. I hope those of you that are watching, you will find all of this useful. You can find more of these interviews and resources on my website at jamessackey.marketing. Thank you guys for tuning in.